in dialogue, or to say that those who disagree with you and have a different worldview are full of shit?
So you must have selective hearing, sir, because I said that the people who were full of shit were the people who were saying that Kirk was civil.
Storm rises in the hearing room as Ilhan Omar fires back, reminding everyone that when a fox preaches, beware your geese. Charlie Kirk's defenders try to paint him as civil, but Omar lays out his own words like evidence on the table. As applause erupts, the room realizes the old proverb stands true. A lie has speed, but truth has endurance. And today, Omar refuses to let rewritten history outrun the truth.
Charlie Kirk over the last decade has advocated for those who disagree with him to come to his various gatherings and dialogue with him and debate with him. And in contrast, in an interview he had this week with Mahdi Hassan, I think his name is, you said that those who disagree with you and may have a different open worldview are, in your words, full of shit. So I'm just wondering which approach is better, to call upon those who disagree with you to come to open debate and dialogue, or to say that those who disagree with you and have a different worldview are full of shit?
So you must have selective hearing, sir, because I said that the people who were full of shit were the people who were saying that Kirk was civil.
He was. Yeah.
No, that's not true. The person who called for public execution of people he disagreed with is not civil. The person who said, if you are a black woman, you lack the ability to process thoughts is not civil. The person who said, because I am Muslim, I cannot be in this country because I want to destroy Western society is not civil. The person who said a 10-year-old should be forced to carry the child of her rapist is not civil. You interested in rewriting this hateful man's history are full of shit.
Thank you.
One more member, a few UC requests, and then you can we'll let you go. But we appreciate that. The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Thank you again for taking the time, Director Patel, and for Chairman Jordan for holding this hearing. Thank you for depoliticizing the FBI and getting it back to its original mission as well. Director Patel, do you agree that we have a problem in the United States with politically motivated violence?
Absolutely.
And I very much agree. I think we can all agree that political violence is wrong, it's evil, regardless of which side it comes from, and that we can all adamantly and vehemently reject it, or we certainly should. But one of the things that we've noticed recently is that affinity and tolerance for political violence is not equally distributed on both sides of the aisle. In fact, right now, social media is filled with leftists who are cheering on the murder of an iconic conservative political figure, Charlie Kirk. And it's not just random people on Twitter doing this now. There's a YouGov poll released just a few days ago, which stated that 25% of those who identify as very liberal believe that political violence can sometimes be justified. That's far too many, is it not? It is.
One is far too many.
One is far too many. That's right. Only 3% of very conservatives said the same thing, and we can agree that 3% is far too many. But there's an astounding difference between 25% on the left accepting and tolerating political violence and 3% on the right. I would hope that our colleagues on the other side of the aisle would also recognize that there is a systemic problem on their side of the aisle with tolerance for violence against people with whom they politically disagree, that there's a cultural rot on their side of the aisle that needs to be addressed desperately. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
One of the more astounding aspects of this is that it's not just people. This comes from the very top, from their political leaders. Just a few days ago, a member of Congress of this body, Ilhan Omar, shared a video on her social media account about Charlie Kirk's murder, and I'll quote what it said. It said, "Charlie Kirk was Dr. Frankenstein, and his monster shot him through the neck." In other words, Charlie had it coming to him. The words that he said naturally led to his assassination. I mean, that is a reprehensible thing for a member of Congress to say, to suggest, to promote in any capacity. And there are people across this country who are losing their jobs for far less than this. And that, by the way, is a just response to acceptance and tolerance of political violence. It's amazing to me that the political left today, who were the originators and the cheerleaders of cancel culture, now have the backbone to attack conservatives for defending their assassinated friend. But there's a key difference here. Democrats want to silence conservatives for speaking obvious, self-evident ontological truths like that men aren't women and men can't get pregnant. That seems pretty basic. That seems like a basic truth that we should all be able to agree on. Republicans, by contrast, are recognizing that a constitutional republic depends on the free and open exchange of ideas that we can debate without violence, and that assassinating a political rival is evil, it's wrong, and it should not be glorified or promoted or justified in any way, including in the way that Congresswoman Ilhan Omar did. So Mr. Patel, thank you again for being here. I'd like to, with the remainder of my time, just get your opinion. Does the FBI recognize the rising threat of political violence in America, and what can you guys do to address it?
Yes, we do, and what we can do to address it, Congressman, is we need to get online partnerships with these companies in the public space, on these gaming sites, and on these social media sites. As I was saying earlier, there is no way to triage the amount of information generated on these sites by the FBI alone. And we need the public-private partnership. And there's another law that's expiring, I think, at the end of this month, which I believe we need renewed, that allows private sector companies to report into the FBI without liability for criminal investigatory purposes. And that's the kind of stuff we need to keep going.
Got it. Thank you, Director Patel. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Gentleman yields back.
Mr. Chairman,
Gentleman from Arizona.
I have some UCs.
Gentleman to state his request.
Standing there in the hearing room, the tension is impossible to ignore. Charlie Kirk's name gets thrown into the mix again, and suddenly the narrative shifts. Some members insist on rewriting history to make him look civil. That's when Ilhan Omar steps in, refusing to let the air fill with revisionist fog. As the saying goes in politics, he who controls the narrative controls the battlefield, and Omar isn't surrendering an inch of it. Omar listens as a member tries to contrast Kirk's supposed openness to debate with her own comments from an interview. The implication is clear. They want her to look intolerant while Kirk is painted as the champion of dialogue. But Omar isn't having it. She responds sharply, explaining that her criticism wasn't aimed at everyone who disagreed with her. It was aimed squarely at the people insisting that Kirk, a man who publicly called for extreme punishments and made degrading remarks about minorities, was somehow civil. In politics, calling poison medicine doesn't make it heal, and she emphasizes that point without hesitation. Omar rattles off specifics. Kirk called for public executions of opponents. Kirk told a black woman she lacked the ability to process thoughts. Kirk claimed Muslims couldn't belong in America. Kirk argued that a 10-year-old rape victim should be forced to carry a pregnancy. Each statement hits like a hammer, and the room shifts as reality is laid bare. A proverb echoes in moments like this. Facts are stubborn things, and they refuse to bend for convenience. By now, her tone is electric. She tells the committee that anyone trying to sanitize Kirk's legacy is full of it. The applause erupts from the room. It's not polite applause, but a raw acknowledgement that someone finally called out the spin. Omar stands firm, embodying the old truth. In politics, silence is complicity, and speaking up is survival. The moment becomes bigger than the exchange itself. It becomes about record keeping, accountability, and refusing to let rhetoric whitewash reality. Each line Omar delivers is sharpened by the proverb, "Those who rewrite history are the first to repeat its mistakes." She refuses to let that happen today. The camera captures her final words as she reminds the room that no amount of selective hearing can undo public statements made on record. The hearing feels different at that moment, less like a routine exchange and more like a collision between truth and spin. And for anyone watching, the old political proverb suddenly feels alive again. When the truth comes knocking, even the loudest liars fall silent.